Hello and welcome to episode 56, Starting a Career in PR and What to Expect.
Welcome to the PR Playbook Podcast, the only podcast giving you actionable skills and advice you need to execute a strategic PR program. Warning: what you hear next may lead to brand awareness and increased sales and customer exposure. Now here's your host, Rinjini Joshua.
Hi, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Today first of all, we're slowly shifting the format into something a little bit more casual and graspable. So if you have any suggestions for topics, tips, things you want to hear on this podcast, please send it over. Also, please review the podcast. If you are a listener, which I know we have like a little PR army following us. If you are a avid listener, please rate the podcast if you have a couple minutes. I would love and appreciate that. Leave a review of it, especially if it's been helpful to you. I would really appreciate any of the reviews that you guys can leave on whatever podcast hosting area that you're, listening to this on. So I wanted to get that out of the way. I will be reminding you guys a little bit more and also share this podcast with anybody that you think would be interested. The other announcement I kind of wanted to make is that we actually launched a PR course, and you could see it on our website, thesilvertelegram.com. So take a look at the PR course. There's a workshop that's like an all-encompassing workshop of like basically creating your own PR program and walking you through each step of the way. And then there's like some small micro courses. And then if you guys are interested, Quick Start PR is the code for $50 off of the PR course, which is like a master class basically. So check it out on our website, thesilvertelegram.com, under the resources tab. It's the first thing there. Or thesilvertelegram.thinkific.com. You can find it there too. So I want to talk about starting a career in PR. And what we hear a lot is that people nobody knows what PR is when like my parents are asking me, but also like a lot of people don't know how to get into the industry. I am probably one of the very few people that I know, or the small percentage, not few people, but small percentage of people that went to school for PR and then actually did PR with their life. So I did a major in journalism, major in journalism with an emphasis in public relations specifically, and a minor in marketing. So I'm just like all over this space. And you don't need to do that. And most people that I talk to don't. They probably have a major in communications. Some people, journalism is probably something that they've done. English is another one. Social I don't actually remember, social communications or something like that. There's like another major that's around that social aspect of it. Even psychology, I think, is a really great one for PR people. So if you are looking into getting PR, this is kind of the podcast for you. I wanted to talk about what the expectations should be. Like, what does PR feel like? And I think a lot of people don't realize like PR is not publicity. It is. Publicity is a type of PR. Publicity is the type of PR that's really related to the entertainment industry. And that's where you see like publicists and like people like that. Really, we're all publicists, but the people who are labeled as publicists are usually in the entertainment space. And then the people who are in like the tech space, like me, or other like vertical industries like health and wellness or banking or real estate, those are just public relations people. So we're still publicists, but there's just like some small nuances there. So I feel like one of the things that I think would be really important to note is that PR is more behind the scenes than you might realize. Like, we are really the behind the scenes people. We are the people that are making the glow up happen for thought leaders, for brands, So we are not really public facing. We do the quiet, hard work behind the scenes. We're not having lunch. We're not, booking lunches with people. We're booking lunches for people, but not with people. So I think that's something to note. Like, if you think you want to get into PR, the skills that you really have to be good at is like, creative storytelling, writing, talking to people, and really just kind of telling your side of the story. You have to be a good communicator is really what it is. So, number one, PR is more behind the scenes than you may realize. Number two, you need to be a good writer. You don't have to be amazing, but you need to have like some solid writing skills before you jump in. And then you can fine tune those skills as you go because everything's based on what we write. Like the pitches, the press releases, the press kit, the press materials. Like, think about how much writing goes into that. I write probably about 50 emails, if not more, a day, and those emails have to be succinct. They have to communicate what I want. They have to have a call to action. It's very, very crucial that you have some good communication and writing skills to be able to do that. So that's number two. Number three, PR is stressful and commands a lot of time. And especially if you're new. If you're new, you want to ramp yourself up in the industry. And now that PR also kind of encompasses social media, just imagine you are taking time to talk to people, taking time to write emails, and also taking time to investigate social media. And then another huge part of PR is also research. So, like all these things, these activities that the PR people do are really time consuming. And so it's very stressful. You put in a lot of hours, and yes, you get gratification, but the clients, I will say if you're in-house, it's a little bit easier. It's a lot bit easier. But if you have clients, you're working at the agency level, people who are clients don't really understand and appreciate the amount of effort and work and strategy and brainstorming that goes into PR. And I think that's one of the reasons I launched this podcast was for people who are not PR people, people who are in the C suite or people who are in the marketing space to understand better what we do so that they can navigate how to work with PR people in the best way possible. So PR is very stressful. I think there's been several studies as like PR having like one of the most stressful service provider jobs, like underneath, of course, like doctors and nurses. And it's like up there with being a lawyer. So it is really stressful. So just remember it is high stress. I've had several people come out of the PR industry saying like, I can't do this anymore and going into like different industries just to relieve the amount of pressure. So you really have to have a very good understanding of what's it called? Like boundaries and time management. Number four, PR is a great job for creative storytellers. So if you're creative storytellers, you know how to twist and bend a story. That's what we do all day. And I've worked on things that are so deep tech that they're very hard to understand, where my job was to actually make that deep tech understandable by someone very simple. This is like a silly thing that I use a lot, which is like, if you can't explain it to your grandma, you're not doing a good job. Like, you have to be able to explain it to your grandma. And not to say that grandmas aren't super techy, and they will be probably soon, but it's just basically break it down to the basics. You have to be able to break these sort of stories down. And I used to work with like deep networking technologies and microchips and RF things, and people were like, what is that stuff? And this was like 15, 20 years ago. But and I work with more consumer tech and consumer products now, so it's easier to explain. But sometimes when you are explaining the technology of why something is different, you need to be able to decode it for the media. And that way, when you decode it for the media, you're telling them why it's important for the consumer. And then they can write their story a lot easier. So it's a great job for people who want to have a creative stab at storytelling, or they're really good with words. They're amazing Scrabble contenders, these guys. And the fifth thing that I want to bring up today, I mean, I can go on and on about PR and what to expect. Get an internship. I had 3 internships before I got into like a job. And that was obviously in college because, like I said, I graduated with a PR degree. But get internship, and don't be afraid to leave the internship if you don't like it. Different PR agencies do different things. The Silver Telegram is really focused on media relations, pitching the media, creating stories, thought leadership. Some agencies are more focused on crisis communications, for example, or investor relations, for example. There are all these PR agencies that have specialized crafts. We have friends in the health and wellness space that just do health and wellness PR, entertainment PR, you've got real estate PR. All of these things are actually quite different. So, whether you're picking a PR agency, which will be another podcast, but or getting into the PR industry, you have to understand that there are many verticals of PR. It's not just a one trick pony. So PR people have a lot of skills that could probably resonate over industries, but you kind of pick the thing that you love and you do that. And I love, I mean, I worked with enterprise technologies for a long time, video games, consumer brands. So I love telling stories that are being told to the public. But if it's a really cool enterprise story, like I like telling that story too. It's just, I have been in tech for so long that that's kind of everything I know and I really enjoy it. But again, if you might like the idea of pitching the media or being in PR, but maybe you don't want tech. Maybe you want to do health and wellness brands. Maybe you want to work with beauty brands or fashion. I mean, everything has their own like niche and nuance. And so you'll end up learning those niches and nuances as you go. I think, the other thing to know is one thing I wanted to address is that a lot of journalists are also, it's like two ways. A lot of journalists transitions to PR and a lot of PR people transition or try to transition to journalism. What I would say for the journalists who are transitioning to PR, you have such a leg up, obviously, like because you know what reaches your media friends, your media colleagues. And that's something that PR agencies have really picked up on. They're like, "Oh, well, I'm going to get this former journalist." However, I don't think journalism or journalists realize how tedious PR is. PR is such a tedious task of being rejected all the time. So if you don't have a thick skin, if you can't brush it off, come up with a new creative angle and like go after it, the PR is probably not for you. And I have seen that PR has tested many people that we have worked with before. So, and it has definitely jaded a lot of people. So that's just something to note when you come in. It's great as a journalist to have those creative writing skills because you're probably going to get good feedback and traction and you have connections. However, connections do not make the man here. Like PR is just a special beast that requires creativity, persistence, and just like some really good old fashioned sleuthing. I like to say that PR people are like the best investigators. Like we kind of investigate through someone's background, see what they like, see what they don't like. I mean, a good person will really do a good amount of investigation before they work with the media, so they can pitch the right angles because sometimes you just only have that one shot. If you guys have any questions about PR, getting a PR internship, or what to expect in an internship, that could be another podcast probably, but shoot me an email. My email is ranjini@thesilvertelegram.com, which everyone should have, or if you have suggestions for the show, email podcast@thesilvertelegram.com. And again, please don't forget to rate and share the podcast. I appreciate all of your love and support. It's exciting to see the numbers grow with the podcast. We are also launching a new podcast soon. It's kind of unrelated to this one, but I would love to have you guys join us there. But I'll send more information about that when we have that live. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about working in PR, if you want an internship, or if you want to get connections, I'm connected to a lot of PR people on LinkedIn, and so I'm happy to help. So feel free to email me. Thanks for joining us today. And as always, see you next time.